So the phone has been ringing off the hook this morning for my little Hyundai i10. I put it up last night. I put it up for 3,995 when Auto Trader said the recommended was 4,400, and the phone has not stopped ringing on it. I've got 3 bookings already on it. The others know that if the first one comes and buys it, I want to ring them back and let them know it's gone. I'm not going to let a penny off the car. I've just done oil and filter service on it myself because they're so easy to work on. Don't ever pay anybody else to do oil and filters on these. They're the easiest in the world to do on it. I've sold it with the existing MOT because it was right through to September, and it was advisory free. The boys have had a look at it, they're happy with it. I've test driven it, I'm happy with it. So I thought, why add the expense on that as well? I think anything around sort of 9 months MOT, I think you're good to go on it. The reason I also went and marked the Mocha down. Put the price down the Mocha. I put the price down on quite a couple of cars. Quite a few cars. The reason being I had, I'm straight with you on this channel about things. I had quite a large tax bill, and there's a very specific reason for that. It's because previously my turnover meant that I operated on a cash accounting basis. So if I bought cars at the end of the year, then they were counted as a cost, and I wasn't showing any profit for the year, so there's no tax to pay. Now, my turnover has now gone to a point with the volume of cars we're doing, especially with the fact we're trading out some high-end stuff. You think about it, for example, the SL 15K there's back in the old Alfa Ragazzi days. You guys know I wouldn't have 15K tied up in all the stock I had in the forecourt, let alone one car. Now, because of that, my turnover figure's gone up quite a lot, and I've moved to traditional accounting. And that meant at the end of this financial year, all of this stock I've got in, everything in there and everything in here, is considered cash in the bank, and that means that I need to pay on it like you would pay on it because I'm a sole trader. I pay the same tax rates you do, so I had to pay it on all that stock. So that was painful, and my knee-jerk reaction was to come in and start moving some stock, which I probably didn't really need to do, especially now I'm kicking myself. The phone's ringing off the hook on that, but then you have to ask yourself, would the phone ring off the hook if it wasn't 3,995? So we've got a few viewings, and like I say, someone's coming in now. We'll see how we go, but I'm going to be super tough. There's not going to be a penny off this car. So the i10 sold predictably, sold within 24 hours. I could have sold it probably 3 times over, even within just that 24 hours. It's just taken the guy 2 hours to get the blooming payment made by the bank. The security checks of the banks are getting ridiculous now. I'm wasting so much time. I'm trying to get people to prepay it in advance before they come here, just so that we haven't got hours and hours. Because you think by the time they've come and viewed the car, done the test drive, we chatted, that's a couple of hours. And then if it takes a couple of hours every pickup, it really eats into how much you can get done in a day. It's it's not ideal by any stretch of the imagination. But the trouble is, the card transactions, they have the same issues with those as well. But yeah, some go straight through, and then some just take forever, and people have to remember their passwords and their logins, and if they get that wrong, they get booted out of it, and then they've got these really lengthy security checks when you buy a car now from a bank. Have you driven it? Have you seen it? Do you know the person you're buying it from? All that kind of guff. Takes forever. Anyway, it's gone. And we underpriced it. It sold too quickly, but nice bit of cash back in the bank, isn't it, I guess? Half decent profit on as well. Move on to the next one, but I'm out of i10s again. I could really do with filling the place up just full of i10s. While I was doing that handover on that, another couple turned up looking for a small cheap car. Unfortunately, I wasn't able to spend any time with them because I was doing the handover. I said they could have a wander through the stock and gave them a few pointers as to what they might be looking for. But again, it's all about the small cars. They were looking for something, again, small runabout type car. It's all about the small stuff. I need to grab the blue Fiesta from over there, give the blue Fiesta a clean, because the lady just rang me who bought on a Volvo V60 yesterday and said she wants to get something smaller. She says she definitely wants it, so I need to get that in here and cleaned. It won't be going out to her because it still needs to go and get service and MOT and that kind of stuff, but it needs to be clean for her to look around it tomorrow because it was filthy when she had a little test drive yesterday. I decided to get it clean before she got here again. We've picked up another Doom Blue car. We got the little Fiesta the other day. We've got another Doom Blue car from a subscriber. This is David. David does a little bit of trading. He just does trade-to-trade sales, really. He's got some really good contacts across a few garages. When they offer him cars, he doesn't really like getting into retailing himself. He just moves them on to another trader. So he's just sold me this Freelander. He drove it straight down to me, which is brilliant. I've just dropped him off at the train station. So many thanks for that again, David. 2012, 104,000 miles on it. 2.2 diesel manual gearbox. It's got a near full service history. Bodywork is good. It's not perfect, but it's good. There's a couple of bumper corners to do here that are quite scraped up, but should be a nice easy colour to do, and there are nice easy places as well, just a quick bit of masking and that can be done. There's a little bit of marking on this door here, but I think that'll polish out fine. Interior needs a good clean. It's not horrendous, but it could do with a good wet clean on the seats. I've just driven it for about, I'd say probably half an hour. It drives absolutely beautifully, nothing wrong with the drive at all. We've got a mirror to sort out here that's wobbling about a place. That tyre's wearing a bit unevenly, so tracking needs doing, or there could be something, you know, potentially drive shaft or track rod end possibly need doing there, because the other side's okay. So that's something to look into. I think it needs an MOT pretty soon anyhow, I think. I can't remember exactly how much MOT it's gone. But drive-wise, absolutely lovely. I say the only thing not going for it really is the colour. But I think it looks a little bit better on this, with the sort of bits of grey breaking it up, than it does potentially on the Fiesta. It's not as bad. But yeah, massive thanks again, massive thanks to everyone emailing me and calling me and offering me vehicles. If you haven't been on my website recently, cgcarsales.co.uk, what I did is I put a form on the front page, so if you are looking to sell a car, you can literally just very quickly put your details in, and then I go through them at the end of the day, email you back and let you know what I think the valuation of the vehicle would be for me. It doesn't always work out, sometimes the distance too far, sometimes you've had better offers already. You know, we've all got our sort of niches on the cars that we sell particularly well, and we know which ones we can do a little bit more than the book says on, and which ones we need to be a bit more careful on. But just massive thanks to everyone doing that. It's really appreciated. I mean, obviously if you can get the car here like David has, then I can give you like sort of £300 to £500 more for that than I would do if I've got to go and pick it up. So that makes a big difference, and I can just drop people back to the train station like I've been doing and have a coffee and a yarn with you beforehand. But yeah, no, massive thanks. Drives lovely, so that'll be a nice little bit of stock. I made a comment on one of my TikToks the other day that it's a buyer's market and people can't shift cars. Well, I can tell you that all day long I've had people turning up looking for small CC petrol cars. I just had someone come for the Adam. Now obviously I can't sell it to them because it's now a raffle prize, but they came over looking for the Adam. I've had a number of people wanting a Ford Fiesta, but that's now sold to that lady. I've just been giving it a bit of a clean up inside. She actually said she'd take it dirty. She said, can I get a discount if I take it dirty? Because I'm only going to go down the road and get it dirty. I said, I've never sent a car out dirty yet, so I'm not about to now. Unless I sold it to Mad Mike, in which case, yeah. So yeah, I've had people on that. I've had more people on the Hyundai i10 calling up. Well, I think I've just had the most mammoth sales process there's been yet so far. We've just sold the grey Cougar. Now, the Cougar wasn't ready for retail. It hadn't been pulled out and valeted. It needs a really good clean inside and out. But as you guys know, what happens a lot of the time with me is people come and walk through the unprepped stock and they'll pick something out. Now, what happened was this guy's been looking for a Cougar for weeks. He's been travelling all around the southwest looking for one, and obviously neither of mine are advertised. I've got the white one over there and the grey one over here, and it just so happened that because he was in his feed truck, I think it was a feed truck or groundworks truck, he was high enough to be able to see over the hedge and see I had some in here. So he stopped by to say, oh, they're out for sale. Of course they are. So he came on his own the first time. He test drove the grey one, took that for a spin, and then took the white one for a spin because they're very close on price, to see which he liked the most. But he said, I've got to get my wife in on it. So he came back with his wife in the evening, and we took the grey one out again and took the white one out again, see what she liked. They both thought that the grey one drove better, and I said, I don't see why it really would drive much differently. This is how it feels more pokey. When I did my research, it turns out that actually has 20 more horsepower being four-wheel drive or all-wheel drive than that does with the two-wheel drive. So that'll be why it feels more pokey. But they still weren't sure. They wanted to sleep on it because she was in love with the white one and he was in love with the grey one. And the kids loved the white one. So they came back this morning for a final test drive. So we've done 5 test drives in total because we took the grey one out and the white one out again. So I think I've burnt about 30 quid's worth of fuel doing it. And it's settled on the grey one, even though this is pre-prep. But now obviously they want it ASAP. And this car needs really good amount of work because I need to do a machine polish on it. And I need to wet clean the interior. Seats all need a proper wet clean. But before that, he'd like it to go down to Moores and have the MOT on it. It's got an existing MOT on it that runs right way through till September, I think, something like that. And the underside was noted on that. So we're going to get it all wire brushed down and wax oiled. And I think some rear suspension arms were. So we're going to get those checked out as well. So that needs to be done. Oh, and we're doing a cam belt. We're doing a cam belt as well. So we need to get all this done. It is now Saturday. He wants it by Friday. So cam belt underside, check the rear arms, safety check. Then it needs to come back here, wet clean inside, machine polish outside. I think I might struggle because I've got a day out of the business this week, which you're going to see on a video later on. So yeah, it's a bit of a mammoth sales process. So I have set the expectation, and it might not be ready in time for Friday. They want to take it to the airport. So that's my Saturday done. The Fiesta went out. We got the X60 in part exchange, XC60 in part exchange. The Cougar sold to the chap that did the multiple test drives. And then at the last minute, guess what sold? The C-Max sold. Probably the lowest profit I've made on the car for a while. We're only making about £400, I think, on a 2017 8 grand car. But as I always tell you people, the profit margins people think we make on cars are completely different to what we actually make. I guess making a lower margin on a car that is newer with lower mileage hopefully will make more sense than doing it on a cheaper car that could potentially have more problems. But I do have to take it down for a fresh MOT and get the discs checked because they were an advisory last MOT. Sorry, the pads on the last MOT were an advisory, so I've got to go down and get that checked. So we've got a bit of cost now. I'm assuming I'll be in a couple £100 by getting stuff done on that, so we'll be down to about £400 profit. I'm putting a warranty wise on it, which is going to cost me a couple of £100 because they're down next to and I want them to have cover. So I think that might cost me a couple £100. So yeah, I think we'll probably end up netting about 400. The only saving grace is I took in a Citroen C4 Picasso in part exchange, and I just hope to God that isn't riddled with problems. I've obviously test driven it and checked it out, and they've driven it all the way from Exeter, and they seem decent people. It's got a full history and it's quite tidy apart from a little bit of paint on the roof. And that was that'll be a nice sort of, I think it's 349 car, 34995 car, sort of a, yeah, nice cheapy type car that should sell quite well, and I might be able to get an opportunity to make a bit more money out of it on that. But putting the cash in the bank for that one is the big bonus. Nothing wrong with the car itself, of course. Absolutely cracking car. Like I say, this is full service history. It's got a really clean MOT history. It's in really good condition. It drives lovely. So yeah, I don't quite understand why it took a little bit longer to sell than the other stuff, but I think just people like the cash guys and the 4x4y stuff. So we've still got to prep the Merc. Haven't done anything at all. It's been sitting ever since I bought it because I want to get the alloys prepped before I market it. So I've got to try and get onto that next week. And no interest in the Mocha. Now it's still £600 below Auto Trader. It's a really good deal on the Mocha. I thought that would go maybe this weekend, but I can't sniff at that. 3 cars out. It's not bad.